Hardcore Horror with Mike and Bridget is a part of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network.
That is hardcore.
This is hardcore shit.
But for me, it's harder and harder to resist.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hardcore Horror with Mike and Bridget. I am one of your hosts. My name is Mike. I am talking with Bridget. Hey, what's going on over there?
Hey, I am Brigitte. I'm one of your hardcore horror hostesses for night.
All
How
right.
are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. Everything's great.
So we got a cool show tonight. What we got going on?
Yeah, man, we got some exciting stuff. We got Joel Graves that we're going to talk to tonight. And him and I work together.
Actor, right?
He's an indie actor. We've worked together on a couple projects.
Cool. All right.
We were both leads in this past movie that we filmed that we're still working on. I think they're still kind of putting everything together. We don't even have a trailer yet, but that's coming soon. But
Very nice.
no, he's great. He's local and he's a really good actor and been an inspiration for me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start off tonight with, let's talk about what we've been watching. What do you got for me? Anything?
Oh my God. I have had so much fun. I have so much shit to talk about for movies.
Okay.
Yeah, you ready for this?
Run through them.
Man, all right, so a lot. I've had some rewatch. Sometimes you watch a movie, but you gotta go back and rewatch it because sometimes you can pick up on different things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A lot. All right, so here's my rewatches. Society. Have you seen that one?
Oh, yeah, it's a great one. I love body horror. Yeah, good stuff.
I watched that movie the first time about 2 years ago, and I was like, how have I never seen this before?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I was on a date, right? I was on a date, and I was like, hey, you want to watch a movie? Yeah. And I remember that moment where, like, he looked at me, he was like, what the fuck? Because the guy's talking like, he's like an asshole. He's talking through it. He's an asshead. Or
yes.
whatever that was good stuff.
That is great. Yes.
So, all right. So that one, Gerald's Game on Netflix. You ever seen that one?
Love it. Yeah, it's great. Fantastic.
So I saw it one time, and I felt like it. I feel like I need a rewatch. I need to go back and see it again.
Mike Flanagan, one of the greatest directors of horror we got right now.
Oh God, it's a fucking good movie.
It is.
I like this. It's not gory. It's not very gory, but it's one of those psychological. It's very good writing.
Mm-hmm.
So yes. I really like that one. I did see a movie for the first time that I really, really liked, actually. Okay. And every time I was like, what the fuck was the name of that movie? And I kept wanting to call it Flesh. I kept saying, oh, you know the movie Flesh?
Fresh.
It is Fresh. I kept saying, you know the movie Flesh? And even, Tracy West, he's my movie buddy right now. He goes, it's called Fresh, Bridget. It's not Flesh. But I picked up on that shit. So this was a movie, his recommendation. I had no idea what the movie was about. He would not allow me to watch the trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're not going to watch the trailer. And I was like, well, why not? I want to know what it's about. And I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah,
but I picked up on it pretty quick. And I think the reason in my mind I keep calling it Flesh is because when she goes in there and she sees this art on the wall, and I looked at Tracy, I said, that looks like pieces of body. Like it looks like flesh. He goes, really, Bridget, are you that sick in the head? Really? You know? And he was trying to throw me off, and I was like, motherfucker, I done told you. I knew it. When he started cutting her body up, I was like, I told you. I picked up on it. I loved it. I loved that movie. Did you like it?
I did. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
God, I did too.
Yeah.
Another. I've been watching a lot of movies last couple weeks. Okay. Another really good one. Man, I've seen it a few times. Can't get enough of it. 8mm.
Yeah. Nick Cage. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, God, that's a good one. That's a really good one. It's about snuff films.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is the main killer, the guy with the mask, the guy in the mask,
Mhm.
he was one of the main characters in True Blood. Did you ever watch True Blood on
Oh.
HBO?
Oh yeah, I've seen all of it. I've seen every season.
Did you ever realize same person, Andy? His name was Andy on True Blood. He was one of the sheriffs, the nerdy sheriff.
Yeah. He's very distinct. He's got that very distinct voice, you know.
Well, that's him. That's him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I probably didn't at the time, obviously, when I saw 8 mm, because you know.
I was way before True Blood for sure.
Right. But and I mean, even the last time I saw it, I think, which it's been a while, so probably didn't make that connection. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I have a few more for you.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm telling you, man, I have been watching movies a lot. It's great. It's my escape away. No Exit. Seen that one? Exit.
I have seen it, but since I can't tell you what it was about, I don't think it really stuck with me.
Oh, okay.
It's the one where is it the snow?
Yes.
Right, and
yes.
the girl finds the girl in the trunk, right?
Yes, in the van.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
The little girl. Yeah.
So I remember bits and pieces of it, but yes, I have seen
it. Maybe not a favorite. If you don't remember it, I mean that's not good. So.
I mean, I didn't hate it or anything like that, so it's not on my hate list or anything. But
I'll tell you the next movie that I saw this week was one that's been on my list for a long time.
Okay.
So I have this running list forever, and I try to, you only have so much time. You try to check them off. This one's been on my list for a long time, but I just haven't seen it. Finally broke down and watched it. It was Eden Lake.
Eden Lake, yeah, that's a good one.
The whole entire movie was so fucking good.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. So good. But at the end, man, I was like, God, the fucking build up. I'm like, so I'm like revenge movies. First of all, a lot of people can't deal with revenge movies because it's too heavy.
Right.
So if you're going to have a revenge movie and you're going to get the person to watch it that can get past the bullshit,
right,
the craziness,
like that. Yeah.
They want a happy ending.
Right. If you like happy endings, don't watch this movie.
Don't fucking watch this movie because it's just like, oh shit, damn.
Yeah, I like those movies though. I don't think every movie should end happily. So there's nothing wrong with having movies like that. I like that every now and then.
Mars, we've been talking about this movie like for a while because it's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
What I like about it is it's so much of everything, and at the end you're like, does it have a happy ending? No. But does it have a fucking sad ending? No. I didn't think it had a sad ending. I'm like, dude, she was so fucking awesome. It wasn't a sad ending to me.
I mean, I think it's a mixture of feelings there. I don't think
it is
necessarily sad, but it does
takes
take
all your emotions and put it all in a pot and stirs it around. I don't know.
Yeah. What else you got?
The Final Girls. Have you seen that one?
Oh, the comedy of Final Girls? Because there's like one called The Final Girl, and then there's The Final Girls where they're stuck in that loop with the 80s slasher thing. Is that what you're talking about?
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I love that one.
I watched it for the first time last night.
Did you like it?
Night.
What did you think?
Sort of.
Sort of?
Sort of.
That's all you got? Sort of? Okay, you didn't like it. Not the
No. All right. I'm like, oh my God, it's like Happy Death Day and Groundhog Day over and over and over.
Sort
and I'm
of.
like,
sort of, yeah.
Sort of, but I fell asleep during a little bit of it. I'm not going to lie. Sorry. That's the truth. No, it was the truth. But the main chick, God, I can't remember her name. This is 2015 movie.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Malin.
Yeah.
Ackerman.
The blonde. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The blonde.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. Damn, she's so cute.
Yeah,
she's so cute. She's precious. And her daughter, I've never seen her, but
she was in American Horror Story.
Oh, that's where I've seen her from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I had to look her up last night. We were watching it, and I was like, she looks like Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I see
Looks
it.
like her
A little
daughter.
bit, a little bit.
Oh God, I totally thought she did.
Hmm.
Anyways, it was okay.
Okay, all right.
All
What else?
right, it was okay.
What else?
What else did I watch? I think that's it for me for right
Okay,
now.
okay.
That's a few of them.
That's fair, yeah.
Well,
For
what
sure.
about you? What the hell have you been watching this
All
week?
right, all right. I'm gonna run through these. I got a bunch, so.
Oh fuck! Do I need to get a pen? Do I need to write them down?
Nah, I mean,
Because
no, no. You can just listen to the podcast.
oh yeah,
The first thing I watched was The Exorcism of God.
oh okay, all right.
The Exorcism of God. And I'll tell you a little thing about me is I don't actually particularly like exorcism movies.
I
Uh,
don't
be-
either.
because I love The Exorcist. And I absolutely love The Exorcist. Like it's one of my favorites for sure, and it always will be. But I think it was done so perfectly, and this was almost 50 years ago. Um, that I don't think people ever get it right.
That's
Go-
what I was gonna say. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
they did it, and they did it so fucking well that
yeah.
uh,
Like The Exorcism of
it'd
Emily
be hard to
Rose.
top that.
Yeah, Exorcism of Emily Rose is pretty good, but most of the time I don't fall in line and like exorcism movies. Even the sequel is terrible to The Exorcist. The third one was actually pretty good, but not really in line with The Exorcist, the original anyway. Anyway, I'm rambling. Anyway, this movie, The Exorcism of God, I kind of liked it. I actually enjoyed it a little bit. It really, I mean, it didn't make no bones about the fact that it was literally paying homage to The Exorcist, but I kind of liked it. It was a little bit different story. I won't give too much away of the plot because that just needs to be watched and seen. But I liked it. I didn't expect to. I thought this is going to suck and this is going to be like every other exorcism movie. But it did have some things that because what happened was it has that. I mean, it even has even some shots just like The Exorcist, and again that was just to pay homage, which is good. But when the people are possessed, they're very almost they do have that guttural sound, demonic thing like The Exorcist, almost even Evil Deadish. But so they had this priest. He is trying to do this exorcism on this woman, trying to get it out of her, and then he does the thing like The Exorcist, has it come into him, but it's just the aftermath of what happens once it comes into him. And I thought that was cool. It's actually interesting. I can recommend that movie, even though, again, I'm not a fan of those types of movies, but it actually brought us something a little new to the table.
So where can we stream it?
I rented that one.
Oh, you rented it?
A rental for me online. Yeah, you can stream it anywhere as far as you can rent it. I don't know if it's actually streaming for free anywhere right now, but it will be soon.
What year is it?
It just came out.
2022?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And it's got
Cool.
it's got the butler from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which I haven't seen since Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I'm like, what? Where's he been?
Oh, that is so funny because I don't even remember a butler.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So next, I think I told you I had this. I bought this DVD, this After Dark Horror Fest #3. These things used to come out every year and had showcase a bunch of different horror movies. And it was kind of cool back in the day. No real need for it anymore, I suppose. But back in the day, it was very cool because you got to see some indie kind of horror stuff that you didn't normally see. So this one had a bunch of movies, and I'll run through them: Slaughter, Autopsy, The Broken, Butterfly Effect Part 3, Perkins 14, Voices, and From Within, and Dying Breed. And they're kind of hit or miss. I mean, some of them are pretty decent. Some of them are not that great. Perkins 14 I thought was really good. He's even got that guy from 31, the lead guy. Yeah.
God, yes.
Yeah, he's in it. So that one was pretty good. One of my favorites is actually From Within. I really like that movie. And Dying Breed was pretty bloody, and I like that one. And there's some redeeming values in all of them, but some of them are just not as good as the others. But so I watched all of those throughout the last couple of weeks. I watched a little indie film called Strange Tales from Appalachia. This is a very small, low budget horror movie. I want to say it was filmed in Tennessee. I don't know the directors or anything, but it was kind of an anthology film of 3 different shorts. And just like any anthology, some of them are hit or miss. I really enjoyed the first one. It was entitled Pretty Girl. I thought that one was the best one of the bunch, but it's not too bad. You can check that one out on Screenbox if you have that. Another one I watched was called Fetish Factory, aka also known as the Cabaret of the Dead. And this is just what you think it is. It's about cabaret girls fighting zombies.
I mean, that kind of sounds fun to me.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not wanting something heavy or plot filled, why not? Another one I watched was called Lair, which is another indie horror film, and this one was interesting. I don't know if it was. I can't say it's great, but it was about a guy who was trying to free a guy in prison because he's in prison for killing somebody, but it was supernatural. So he was trying to prove that there are supernatural occurrences that happen in his house. So he set all these cameras up and stuff, and so he kind of watches and really orchestrates like the demise of his family, and all hell kind of breaks loose. It was pretty decent, I wouldn't say it was great. It gets a little tedious in times, but not too bad.
And what's this movie called?
The movie was called Lair.
Lair.
Yeah, Lair.
So where can we stream that at?
Oh, where did I see that one? Probably Tubi. I want to say I'm not for sure.
Tubi is always my go-to.
Yeah. You can use like.
It is. It's so underrated. Like if you're a horror fan, man, you can see like the greatest of the great on Tubi.
Yeah,
love it.
If you're ever looking for a movie, I just go to this app called Just Watch, and I can look it up, and usually it tells me where you can stream it.
Just Watch app. Mm-hmm. So do we need to download that?
Everybody should download that. It's great. Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. We'll check it out.
So the next movie I watched is called See For Me. Have you heard about this one?
Nope.
So it's about this girl who's blind, and she is so as a blind girl is house sitting for somebody, which is hilarious to me. A blind girl is house sitting for somebody, and then there's break-ins, and she uses this app where people see for you, where they're actually looking at things around and telling you what's around.
That's different. Okay.
It's different. The thing about the blind people and these horror movies, like the things that they can do it's a stretch sometimes, I think. So there's that. It was okay. It was okay, but I have a hard time with my suspension of disbelief when it comes to that sort of stuff. I mean, it's really, you really have to really go there. So next movie was called Gilgamesh. This was a little indie film. I don't know what they're trying to do with this movie. Honestly, I think they just threw everything but the kitchen sink in there. It was a little boring. I wasn't too big of a fan of it overall. Marlena Blackthorne was in it, and I tried to watch her stuff, but she was the best part for sure. Revisited The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Have you seen this one, the old one?
Oh no, but I know what it's about though. It's based off a true story.
Right.
The killer, they never caught him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. There's two versions of it. There's actually a new version of it, which is pretty good too. I like both of them. But this is weird because it is a horror movie, but it's not like it's not filmed like a horror movie. It's filmed almost kind of documentary style, and there's really not that horror music to it that much. So it's very weird. It's like it sets the tone very, very crazily. I think it's a lot different than what you expect. I like it. I think it's worth a watch. That's on Shudder right now.
What year is the movie?
Did the Town That Dreaded Sundown come out?
Yeah.
Now you're gonna make me research shit.
Look, yeah, because
I want to say 70 something.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I've seen that movie before, but I think that they've redone it.
1976, the year I was born.
1976. So everybody's got to go and watch the 1976 version and check it off their list.
Yeah. But like I said, even the new one I thought was good.
It's good, different.
Yeah. Next movie I watched was called Agnes.
Oh my God, that's on my list. I've been wanting to watch this forever. Did you like it?
No, I did not like that.
No,
movie.
really?
What the hell are they? What was this movie about? What were they trying to do with this movie? This made no fucking sense.
Holy fuck. Well, I mean, so
Okay.
this is one of the horror movies that everybody loves that we hate.
Okay. All right. So, like, all right. It's hard to say. It's like you got to give them credit for not going the beats of a typical movie. I guess you got to give them that like Old Country for No Men credit for not going the norm of plot points. I guess.
Yeah.
They didn't follow the verse, chorus, verse of this, and that's okay. So I'll give them kudos for that. But I wasn't expecting that at all, and I didn't know what the hell I was watching. I don't know. I didn't like it.
So I haven't seen it.
When
I
the
haven't
movie
seen it, but
when the movie ended, I was like, "What? What just happened?" And not that you don't know what happens, but like, okay, so it goes into plot A, story A, and then it switches to plot B, and then it just ends. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll have to rewatch it. I don't want to shit on it or nothing, but I wasn't really a fan.
So that's supposed to be an extreme movie. Yeah. Do you think it was extreme?
No,
Because I didn't see that at all
we
from
talking
the
about
trailer.
Are we talking about the same movie?
Yeah.
The new one?
How new is it?
It's pretty. This one's pretty new.
No, this is the older one. Like older.
Older.
Yeah,
Okay,
older.
Let me look this up.
Oh, I'm looking it up too.
This one just came out. This one literally came out. It's 2021.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking of something else.
Okay. Yeah. Then whatever you're thinking about is probably better than this.
Okay, I'm thinking like Agnes. Oh, spelled different. Oh no, let me look it up. Damn, why you do this shit to me? It's like when I'm watching movies, I'm like, what is that person playing? Oh my God, I've seen that person in something. And I'm the crazy ass that has to go online and look it up.
Oh, I do.
Oh my God, where am I seeing them at? Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I do it all the time.
You do that all the time? Good.
Yeah, IMDb is
I'm
my
not
friend.
the only crazy ass. Okay, good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I can't recommend that movie though. I mean, unless you just you want something that's totally not the norm. It doesn't follow the patterns of a typical movie. Hey, just go for it. That's all I can say about that movie.
What year did it come out? Did it just come out in 2022?
This one came out in 2021. That's what it says on IMDb.
Oh no, we're not talking about the same movie then.
Yeah. So after that, I watched The Last Cannibal World, aka Jungle Holocaust. This is made by the same guy who did Cannibal Holocaust. He did this one a few years before. It's basically the same stuff. I mean, overall, the story is not as good as Cannibal Holocaust. A lot of nudity though. A lot of dongs in this one. If that's something you're looking for. But
yeah, because we're tired of looking at fun bags.
Well, hey, there you go. Jungle Holocaust. You'll get your fill right there.
I'm just glad that the damn guy was able to direct something else and film something else without getting arrested on set, right?
Well, he did have to go to court and for
Cannibal. On this one?
This one was filmed before Cannibal Holocaust. So.
No shit.
Yeah, it came out a few years before that, but I think he'd done another one after that too. So yeah, he got to make more movies and stuff for sure. Yeah, he didn't go to jail, but they did try to prosecute him.
But it whatever. Even if all that shit was bullshit, it sounds real good. Oh, the director. Like, we really thought he was like killing people on the set.
Right.
I'm like, that is some publicity like nobody's busin's. Just saying.
That's why people know about that movie to this day.
Exactly.
And nobody's watched Last Cannibal World, or not too many. Totally different. So next thing I watched was revisit Subspecies. They just dropped that on Shudder. Are you a fan of that Full Moon Productions, that stuff?
Yeah, I actually like Full Moon. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Subspecies is pretty good. I mean, the CGI hasn't aged well, but
not all of them. But
yeah.
I mean, they produce a lot of things, and I've watched my fair share of some good stuff on there.
Yeah, I watched a fan film. It was a Scream fan film called Scream Legacy. It was like an hour long. It was actually done pretty well. The acting was really good. The only problem I had with the whole entire thing was the voice. I mean, you can't get that voice down, and if you can't even try to emulate it, it just doesn't work. Next thing I watched was Netflix has a new movie called Choose or Die. It's about these two who start playing this video game, and they have to do these things and choose or die. That's pretty much it.
I think I've seen the trailer for that one. Did you like it?
It was okay. I mean, serviceable. I wouldn't say it's great, anything like that. I didn't hate it. I thought it was kind of, they were just nonchalantly following along with this thing. I'm like, why don't you stop, or at least feel bad about it? But yeah, okay. It was okay, serviceable.
I've heard
not
you
great.
rattle off all these movies tonight, but none of them have really excited you. I could tell. I could
Excited
tell.
me.
I was like, yeah.
Well, The
No, I
Exorcism
mean,
of God
we-
surprised me. That's the only
Okay.
one. That's the only one that really surprised me. The last thing I watched was yesterday. I watched The Cellar, which is the new movie that dropped on Shudder. It was pretty good. It wasn't like great, but it was pretty good. It's about this family that moves into this house, and lo and behold, like this house is kind of a doorway to Leviathan kind of a thing. It was pretty. There was a couple creepy moments in that one. Not great by any means, but serviceable.
The Cellar. When I think of The Cellar, oh my God, my first thought was The Cellar. Oh my God, Mike, isn't that your movie?
Yeah, only if you put the secret with it.
Dude, I was like, I've seen this movie. Oh wait, no, it's not the same thing. No, yours is pretty good. That's one of my favorites, actually.
No, they didn't do what happened in my movie in this one.
Man. So I'm just sharing this out there that look, I'm a little extra. But that movie was one of my favorites.
Well, I appreciate it.
If anyone was listening to this, where could they find that movie at?
Well, you can find it in any back alleyway by the black market.
All right. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Or you could just go to www.fauxpasfilms.com. Places like that, That's where you can find it.
Everyone needs to check that shit out. That was one of my favorites. I was like, oh my God, is he gonna go there? Holy fuck shit, he did. And I loved it. That was a good one. That was a good one. I loved it.
All right, before we get to this interview, I got just a few questions for you, and then we'll head on down that way. Okay. Question number 1. What is your favorite horror movie franchise?
I feel like this is going to be such a lame answer.
Okay.
But I thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about this when you originally asked me. Man, there's so many, and you know how I feel because we've talked about it. Oh my God, you can only do this movie so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this is such a lame answer, but Friday the 13th is going to be my favorite because, well, when's the last time they've done it? They haven't overdone it. I mean, they kind of did.
Well. Now, to be fair, they only haven't made a new one because of legal limbo. That's the only reason they haven't made it.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think their rights to Friday went back to Sean Cunningham, but then like there's so much other stuff that maybe Paramount or somebody else owns, and New Line might still be in there. I don't know, but yeah, it's all legal stuff. That's why there is none right now.
Oh shit! I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's still going to be my favorite because the first one, it's like one of those trick questions. Who was the killer in Friday the 13th? And everyone's like, Jason Voorhees. We're like, no, the original killer is the mom. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a good, start, a different start. It's funny, while we're talking about this, I have this really cool little thing my daughter bought me about 4 years ago for my birthday. It's it's a little toy from Friday the 13th, part 3, where he still has but it's before the
hockey mask.
Hockey mask, yeah. He's got like the potato sack on.
Uh-huh.
But the little toy that she bought me, I haven't pulled it out of the package. Because I'm like, it's going to be worth money. It has all the different faces.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It is so cool. And the pitchfork and it's got all his weapons. It's so cool. I love it. But no, that's probably my favorite. It's such a lame answer from someone like me. But it's the truth, though.
That's cool.
That
That's
one's one of my favorites from way back.
all right.
And what about you? Do you have what's your favorite?
So my favorite franchise, because if you think about franchises, and we're having to consider every sequel
I know.
involved into that. I mean, for
I know.
sure. I mean, I can't help but go with Scream, because Scream, and I know you haven't seen most of them, and you didn't really like the new one, but for me, Scream works because they cared about the franchise from the beginning. So the thing about like Freddie and Michael and Jason is they were just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and winging it and trying to see what stuck.
Yeah.
And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. I mean, they've gone on record saying it's like Jason was just an afterthought. Really, it wasn't even really in the script and the original. So like it wasn't really planned, that sort of stuff. But where Scream was way more methodically planned, and and their legacy characters have went on and everything, and it's all kind of connected. There's only been 5 of them, of course, so that's different than these ones that have went on to do double digits. But overall, it's still. They still are trying to, tell the same story, even though they're now moving away from it a little bit. But so that I'd say as a franchise, as a whole franchise, for everyone that kind of still stays involved and engaging and still stays with the original story, that one's probably the one for me. So let's go with you with least favorite. What do you got?
Oh God, this one was easy for me.
Okay.
But there's a couple movies in the franchise I liked.
Right.
For me, it's Child's Play.
Child's Play. Okay.
The first one, great. It'd never been done before.
Uh-huh.
Great. The second one, I'm pretty sure I saw it in the movie theater, but it didn't do anything for me, so I hardly remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the third one, I feel like the third one I remember because Andy was older and he went to this military academy. That's why I remember that one. I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. That's probably the only remember. That's the only reason I remember watching it, is because he was kind of cute.
Okay.
But the fucking remake. What about the remake?
Yeah, the remake is terrible.
Mike,
well, the remake isn't
fucking terrible.
Yeah, but the remake isn't canon with the franchise. The remake, now the TV show is canon with the franchise, but the remake isn't. The remake is not Don Mancini. It's actually just who was that? Paramount maybe that put that out. They only had that because he had the rights to the name Child's Play, but he has the rights to Chucky. So all the Chucky stuff is his, not that. But no, the remake, no, it's no good.
Yeah, well, they bombed that one.
Yeah.
Now the show, the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching it. The first episode got me, hooked me in. I was like, oh my God, it was a kill scene. I loved it. But then we kept going and I was like, it just bored me to death. I couldn't do it anymore.
Okay.
What about you? Have you seen the show?
I've seen all of them, yeah.
Did you like them?
I like the show, all right. Do I like Chucky as a franchise? Yeah, I like the evolution.
Oh, you do?
I like the evolution of Chucky. Like, I don't think Chucky is scary. Like, to me personally, there's nothing scary about Chucky at all.
No, me either.
I like Chucky when he's funny. I like Bride of Chucky. Like, to me, like that is Chucky at its best because it works as a comedy for me, but it doesn't really work as a horror movie too much. But I mean, I like the fact that he evolves Chucky a lot. It's not always the same movie. I mean, you talk about movies that are always being the same. I mean, he does change it up a little bit. Where the first ones were more dramatic and stuff. Then he went funny. Then he went very weird with Seed, and then he went back to being dramatic. And then so he's changed it up a little bit. And I give him credit for that. I don't hate him. There are certain ones in there that aren't the greatest, I don't think. But again, I don't really think he's scary or anything like that. But I think he's funny.
Yeah, not my favorite franchise.
Yeah.
No, he's never been scary to me ever.
Yeah.
My least, not ever.
So my least one, and we've already talked about this before, and I think you remember. So my least favorite franchise has got to be Paranormal Activity.
Man, God, I think you got me on that one. I should have picked that shit.
Because we talked about this, and
yes,
and I'm not really a fan of any of them, to be honest. The ones I've seen, I haven't seen them all, and that's the thing. I mean, most franchises I've seen most of the movies. for the most part. But I have not seen all those movies. But the ones that I saw, I wasn't particularly grand on them. And that's I think that's just because you and I, we saw the Blair Witch when it happened. I saw it in theaters. That kind of stuff, like that affected me. That worked. It just doesn't work a second time, and that's lightning in the bottle. And I don't think you can catch that again with that sort of marketing tool and that sort of kind of movie, found footage. And found footage is tricky anyway. There are some good ones like Taking of Deborah Logan and stuff like that, but overall, I don't think it's a great subgenre. I mean, it has a lot of sneakers, but I think like it's just it's my least favorite because I find them particularly boring. And kudos for him for being low budget and stuff. But I mean, the director has gone on record as saying that he was trying to make something like Blair Witch. So there you go.
You and I have talked about this before, and kudos to you for calling this one out because I'm like you. God, everybody was like, "Oh, it's the scariest shit I've ever seen."
Right.
I watched it and I was like, "Really?"
Yeah.
I was a snooze fest for me. Sorry, but it was.
Yeah.
No, kudos for you for calling that out. No, it was like a lot like the Blair Witch. The Blair Witch, I liked. Kind of was scary because no one had done that shit before.
Well, the Blair Witch worked. I mean, it worked.
It
I mean,
did.
I don't know if
It did.
I don't think it worked in generations to come. I don't think seeing it in home or whatever. Especially hearing about it. It's one of those things. You just had to be there. You had to be there. That's just it. Next
so
question.
you asked me another question. Yeah, I know. I was going to call it out for you. You had asked me a movie that I love that everyone else hated.
Yes.
So I don't know if everyone else hated this, but this is the one movie that at one point it was my all-time favorite horror movie years and years ago.
Okay.
But today, more and more people are like, I don't like that movie. I'm like, oh no. And I'm still going to stick up for it. It's Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking love that movie.
Oh, it's a great. I mean, I
love it.
I love House and I love Devil's Rejects. Both of those movies are great, I think. House is filled with House of Thousand Corpses feels like a haunted house to me. Like it's just filled with a lot of wild and crazy shit in it. And yeah, I mean it's a good movie.
God, I fucking love it. But people, it's crazy because I'm like, oh my God, it's so fucking good. And people are like, but Rob Zombie, he always does the white trash family and blah blah blah. And I'm like, but dude, that shit was good. The way but again, I'm going back to film, how he filmed it, camera angles, different aspect on everything. I think it was shot so well. I really loved it, and people fucking hate it, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorites. Baby Firefly is Sherry Moon Zombie. That's her character's name. That is the name of my dog, my beautiful little toy Shar-Pei. Beautiful. Her name's Baby Firefly. That's how much I love that movie, but people fucking hate it. So
that's people who are talking about him with the trailer trash stuff. I mean, hey, he's making the monsters and it's rated PG, so we'll see how that goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
This has been a battle forever, though. It's everybody's hated that shit forever.
I think that's just a cultural thing. But like when it came out, people loved it, man. I mean, everybody loved it. I think it wasn't definitely didn't get the hate it does now. But yeah, I think that is just more about toward him and his movies because he does become kind of a punchline because he consistently casts his wife as the lead and he does have a lot of the kind of crude humor at times and stuff. So that I think that people are just kind of sick of it, in that capacity. But I think those two, work great. Those two first movies that he did.
So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is a movie that you love that everyone hated?
Okay, so this is I don't think everyone hates House of Thousand Corpses, but I'll tell you, everyone does hate. Besides me and Stephen King, Blair Witch 2.
I haven't even seen it. Damn.
You haven't seen Blair Witch 2?
No.
Okay,
damn.
well, then I don't get to hit all the points with you, but so here's the thing about Blair Witch 2. so they made Blair Witch, and Blair Witch was obviously very successful, crazily successful. So there's going to be a sequel, but that's not a movie that's not a movie that should ever have a sequel. There should never been a sequel to Blair Witch because it isn't
Right.
it's just not something that you should do. So they tasked this to Joe Berlinger to direct it, and he wasn't really a filmmaker at the time. He was a documentary filmmaker, and so I think they wanted him to do that thing. But I think Joe thought about it, and he thought, I can't make a movie that's going to succeed this. I'm not going to make something on par with this original. So what he did was made a movie that was just meta. It was a meta movie, about Blair Witch, and to me it works, and I don't think anybody gets it. But here's the funny thing: they came out with another movie, the Blair Witch, after that, and nobody cares about it. Because it was more like the original, but guess what? It doesn't work. Nobody wants to see it because it doesn't work. And I think Joe had the foresight to see that. And Joe did a bunch of documentaries on the West Memphis 3, and I don't know if you're familiar with that case.
I am very familiar with that case. Very familiar.
So he did the Paradise Lost documentaries and stuff. So
no
I think
shit.
Yeah, and so he was the one that directed Blair Witch 2, and I think that was very heavily still on his mind, because if you look at the subtext to that movie, a lot of it is based on kind of how people perceive things, and and how people are shunned because of, like, there is even a line in there, say, just because I wear black, people think I'm a killer. I mean, so there's a lot of that in that movie, and there's a lot of fun stuff too. Like, there's a lot of little hidden shit in there and everything, and I love, like, the aesthetics of it. Even though, I mean, yeah, there's some typical, like, Hollywood horror tropes in it and whatever, and it can get confusing to people, I assume, but to me, I got it. I don't think a lot of people got it, and I think that they wanted Blair Witch Part 2 to look like Blair Witch Part 1, and it does not, and people hate it, but I like it. I mean, is it a fantastic movie? I can't say it is, but I think it's a good movie. I think he did the best he could do with a sequel that should never have happened in the first place.
Well, kudos to him for that, then.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I'll have to put that on my list for sure.
All right. But have you seen the other one, though? The new one, the Blair Witch one?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Good? No.
I mean, like I said, it's not that memorable either. I mean, to me, it wasn't necessary. But
so one of my other questions that you sent to me, you asked me, a movie that I felt like was the most overrated horror movie. That was so fucking easy for me to answer.
Okay, what is that?
So fucking easy. Hereditary.
Hereditary, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
I had fucking high hopes for this movie. Oh my god, the actress. We've seen her in so much shit. She was in United States of Terror. She was in The Sixth Sense. God, yeah. She's been in so much fucking shit. Oh my god, so much things. The movie was just, I hated the plot. I hated it. I had such maybe it was me. Maybe I had just high hopes going in. And I was like, what the fuck? This doesn't even make any sense. And people still talk about it online today. They're like, oh, this is the extreme horror movie. I'm like, really? What the fuck was extreme about that I'm extremely disappointed? Because that's what I felt like. I was extreme. You want to talk about extreme? I was extremely disappointed on this one. What do you think? What are your thoughts on it?
With that movie, I just think I just think the marketing was wrong. I mean, I think that they hyped it up too much.
God, totally.
I think if you went in not knowing, not thinking that it was going to be great, that you might have liked it a little better. I don't think it's a bad movie, and I think she did a great job as acting in it, and there's some good performances and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's just not where they, said it was going to be. The promotion just fed it to be this great masterpiece, and it's not that. I mean, it has its moments. I mean, but there's definitely some flaws there, and and if you don't like elevated horror, then you're not gonna like this movie anyway.
Yeah, well, I felt like it was a slow burn.
Oh, it's a total slow burn.
God, but we've talked about this so many times. For all of our listeners out there, I'm kind of ADHD. God, I can't stand a fucking slow burn. If it's going to be a slow burn, you better have a good fucking payoff at the end. Just saying.
Right.
I mean, it better make me, like, come my panties. 10. Sorry. Oh God, was that too much?
What? Now the next question is what movie has done that?
uh, look, that's the top secret. Oh my God, it better like make me feel real good at the end. Because I hate slow burns. God, they're the worst.
Yeah.
They're the worst. I'm like, man, I can't stand a slow burn. And then when you watch a slow burn, and at the end it's like, I just check that shit off my list. But if it's the end and you're like, it has one of those what the fuck moments, that's the best. That's the best for me.
Sadly, with the success of that movie, there's so many copycats of the slow burn formula now that there's definitely a lot of them out there now. But if it's slow burn like The Shining or something, I can watch all the time.
That one was a slow burn. But I don't know. I think the payoff was really good. Any more questions for me tonight?
That's all I got. That's all I got. I wanted to go back to what you were talking about with the erotic horror, because you were talking about that last podcast, and my mind just went to like mainstream stuff, and I forgot totally to talk about Aaron Brown, aka Misty Mundy, who did all those erotic horror movies back in the day. And this was a weird thing. It was like the late 90s, early 2000s. There was all these erotic horror movies being made. I don't think they're being made anymore. Maybe they are, and I don't know about it. But it was weird because there was just like just a surgence of these movies that were coming out. And some of them were like parody movies and stuff. Like the first movie I saw her in, she was in a movie called Spider Babe, which is a parody of Spider-Man. But so there's all these movies that were coming out, but a lot of them were horror based, and she was kind of the horror softcore queen of those movies. And a matter of fact, even Donald Farmer did a movie with her. And it was called an Erotic Vampire in Paris. I've never seen this movie, but interestingly enough, he did one of those with her.
And what's her name again?
Her name. Well, she does horror movies too, just typical horror movies. And her name is Erin Brown, but she went by Misty Monday when she was doing these softcore stuff.
Okay,
softcore horror, but there's like tons of them. Back in the day, it was like Factory 2000 and Shakarama and Seduction Cinema and all those things. They used to put out all these movies. I don't know if they're still doing that kind of stuff or if it's kind of went away, but I haven't heard about any of that kind of movies in a while. But yeah, that used to be a big thing, like Cinemax late at night or something. Anyway, that's all I got.
Misty Brown. I'm going to look her up later.
Aaron Brown, Misty Monday.
Aaron Brown. No, Aaron Brown, Misty
Monday.
Oh, look, I wrote the wrong name down. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
It. That's all I got for you.
You want to go on to do this interview?
Yeah, let's do it. You want to?
Sure, let's go.
Okay. Hey, so we have Joel Graves on with us tonight. Hey, Joel, how are you?
Oh, man, I'm great. Hey,
how
are you?
And Joel and I have worked on a few projects together, on a few movie projects. We've acted together. So he's excited to be here, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about that and other things that you've got going on. So what's up, Joel?
Oh, man, just, living life, I guess, like everybody else.
Okay.
What about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I've had a crazy busy last couple weeks and been super busy. We're finished filming. If you remember, all summer, we worked together a lot this summer. And I don't know about you, but I was working 7 days a week, my regular job. And you remember that?
Oh,
you remember that? Friday nights, we would work all damn day at our regular jobs Friday, and Friday night we'd go and film and go home at like 5 a.m. It was a good time.
Yes. That whole experience with, it's like, that's the thing with it. It seems like an endless summer of,
yep,
of brutality and fun. It's so growing up, I had a lot of jobs where I would be working like marathon sessions on things to get a particular project done. And you just get so wiped out and so exhausted, and you stay in a constant state of being punch drunk. And that's how really it was. But then when it's done, it's so hard to explain that just kind of sadness that it's I was going to say sadness that
payoff
it's
is good, but
the payoff is good to be able to look back and be like, yeah, it's done. This job is done. But then the depression of like, it's done. And where do the story's over, and but it's not really over. There's always, so much more to come into it before you actually see it. But man, I just miss that hard work that we did constantly together. And, when you work on a set, when you work in a crew, it really does get to be like family.
No, yeah. Oh God, that's so legit. So I'm going to back up a little bit because this is the first time that you've been on our podcast. So you and I met. We originally met the last night that I filmed Deadlines. You were one of the main characters, and we were so far in filming that when I finally met you guys, even George Dimick said, yo, wait a minute, this is the first time you guys are meeting each other? He's like, oh my gosh, like we have filmed so much, but y'all have never been on set together. So this was a Flicker and Candle Productions film, Deadlines, we were in together. So going before that, did you act before that movie?
I guess I did, yes, with some other Flicker and Candle projects, but I did some when I was a kid through school stuff, if that counts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to throw out actually I think my first television appearance was it was in the Fayette County in Kentucky, Lexington Public Schools public access television channel. I want to say it was like channel 3 on the cable box. Brown ones with the 3 knob selectors and all the click.
Yeah.
Brigitte, you don't. You're too young to remember those.
Wait. Okay, I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna take that all day long. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm too young to remember that. That's right.
So we had this. So the school we would periodically do. It was a Meet the Press type show. They actually called it Meet the Press. It was just that. Only it was elementary school kids acting out notable people, that would be interviewed on Meet the Press and stuff. And I was Arthur Ashe.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have any like videos saved of it or anything? Or is that just like long gone?
I'm pretty sure that's long gone, which is just as well, because you got to remember I'm white and Arthur Ashe was not. Okay. But there was no blackface involved. I just wore some tennis gear and some glasses.
That is so funny. Wow. Yep. And so you started off doing that as a kid. And then how did you get involved with Flicker and Candle Productions? You were neighbors with Greg and Amanda, right? Is that right?
Right. Greg and Amanda, great friends of ours. And Greg had said George was looking for an extra for Grey Vengeance, which was the post-apocalyptic Western shoot 'em up revenge film.
Are you in that movie?
I am. I'm a very minor character, but I actually do have a name, even though I have no lines and nobody ever addresses me. If you haven't seen it, I'm just going to give away one spoiler. I'm in a rape scene, which was fine. Bothersome.
Oh no, it's fine. No, I have seen it. So, and spoilers are fun. I just say spoiler alert. Yeah. Grey Vengeance.
Yeah. So I played a character called Creeper, which was one of the raiders. In one of the beginning scenes, we're ravaging the main character and his settlement, and later on in the movie I pop up after we are a more stable government officials, as it were, and I pop up just long enough for Tom Booten to come around the corner and cap me in the head.
Oh, you had a good death scene then.
I loved it, man. I loved it. It had the guacamole gun going, all kinds of stuff. And it's that particular brain mixture of the brain matter that exploded out of my head was made out of a bunch of bread and macaroni and corn syrup and stuff like that. We're out here on these people's farm. The brain matter goes all over the yard, and immediately the people's dog comes running up into the yard and starts gobbling it all up.
Oh my God, Abel. I'm like, I love it when I hear all these different things about how brains and blood and guts are always made. And it's always out of food. Food.
Yeah.
Every time. Every time.
Loving it. He's sitting there, and I mean, he's just like this red tinted slobber just pouring out of his mouth, and he's chopping on down that. And of course, we're all still, we know it's food. We know it's not brains, but it's the idea that, man, the brains go all over the ground, and the dog just immediately rushes straight toward him.
Macaroni and what? What was it? Macaroni and what?
Macaroni, bread, and a bunch of corn syrup to make it light and nice and sweet and delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, what have you used for, have you ever, had to have a scene where you had to make fake brains or guts or blood or anything creative? Any tricks that you want to share?
Bread is for sure. That's an easy one to use because it has that consistency once you get the blood on it and the corn syrup and the food color. But I tell you, when I used for a film was chicken chunks.
Like the livers and stuff. Livers and gizzards sound like they would be great for that. The lungs especially.
No, I just used regular chicken chunks, but you just mashed them all up, and then once you put the blood on them, I mean, it just looks gross. I mean, it's terrible looking. Pretty much anything, if you get it the right kind of structurally looking and put the blood on it, it's going to look gross. So, and if depends on what you have your people do. Like there was a one that we did where a girl had to bite the chunk out of this guy's face, and we used meat for that, like just like hamburger meat, and it's still kind of gross, but so you want something that people can actually take a bite out of and not gag, but different things. But especially the bread though. The bread is easy to do, and it again, as soon as that blood hits it, it looks gross.
I think my favorite one that I've seen was the movie Cyclone. It's a short that Tracy West was in, and they use Spam. He got his head blown off, but they use Spam and bread. But Spam, like the meat, though, nasty ass meat.
That's not nasty.
Spam.
It's delicious.
Oh God! I mean, maybe like my daughter likes it if you put it in fry and put some syrup on it. But I'm like,
no. You just heat it. You heat it in the skillet, just like you would bologna, but with the onions. Yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna try to act like I'm all bougie or anything, because literally right before we got on this call, I ate me some ramen noodles. I was like, I fucking love ramen. I'm so hungry right now.
Oh man, ramen noodles, chili, a slice of American cheese, and some sour cream.
Yeah. Hey.
My wife introduced me to that. Oh, it's so good. So good. And it's like a 75-cent meal to feed the family.
Yeah, it is. No, that's all.
Yeah.
It might be like $1.50.
Coolest cooking show I've ever been on.
Oh, I know. Well, let's go back to, I know it's funny how we start talking about like fake brains and guts, and we immediately start talking about food. So that's funny.
Well, I guess in the business, that stuff's got to be ultimately edible.
Yeah, it's funny. So tell us more about you and I, like how we met, and tell us about your character and Deadlines. So I'm sure a lot of people on our podcast hasn't seen Deadlines. We talk about it a lot, and we've featured George and Tracy on here. So, but you're a lead on the movie. You're one of the main detectives. So tell us about that and your character.
Yeah, that was actually that was so exciting for me because I started with like I said, with Grey Vengeance with George and Flickering Candle, and I guess, George likes me. Of course, I had met him before that, being friends with with Greg and Amanda. I'd met him before that. But, I guess, he liked me. And so when Taku Hey came out, or when he was doing Taku Hey and wanted me to be in there, and I had a smaller part, but speaking lines, and said I really pulled off the part of an asshole cop really well. So in this one, I am a cop, not quite an asshole cop. I'm a good cop, but it was a big leap, because I went from, of course, no lines in the first movie to a few lines in the second movie to being, one of the main characters that had a ton of dialogue. And, I've never, trained as an actor, like I said, but the elementary school thing, the next time I ever tried to be an actor was in high school for Turn of the Screw, in we had a drama club presentation of that, or, the drama class. But the teacher in charge of that told me she wasn't going to consider me right off the bat because of my grades. So, she said that she didn't.
That's terrible.
I mean, it was, you reap what you sow. I've always been a slacker in life, I guess, skating by. And her, it was legitimate concern. She was worried that I wouldn't commit to the project if I obviously wasn't committing to, my other grades, because, she taught me for a couple other classes. And I want to give a shout out to her, to Ms. Allen, Sue Ann Allen. She was Jeopardy contestant. Brilliant woman. But I had her for a couple of literature classes, and she was the drama teacher.
Well, I hope that she listens to this and realizes that, when I worked with you, especially on All the Ends, again, same thing. I'm in the same boat you were in. I had never had that much dialogue, but working with you, I would have thought you had done it like a million times. I would have thought.
Well, I mean, the way I was brought up, I guess, in my household was very much for trained for public engagement. I learned, so like I grew up in a religious household, and part of our weekly church services were actually a 45-minute public speaking course every week, and I was enrolled in that from, the time I was, learned to read, so I was, 4 or 5 years old, and was up there doing Bible readings and, giving public discourses on it. So I had, for decades, public speaking training, and that has helped me in a lot of ways in life, but it also kind of helped me to say, hey, this is the information that you're supposed to relay, and, you got to follow somebody else's vision. You always want to hear the dialogue the way you're going to say it and the way you imagine the character. The hard part is to do it, to get it from somebody else's mind, the director, the writer, to tell you this is how we want it to be. And it's hard as hell.
Hey, I'm going to give you kudos. You would never guess in a million years. Maybe not. I actually have a fear of public speaking.
That's one of the most common fears that people have.
Huge fucking fear. But when I'm acting, I am not Bridget. I really become my person, my character. And I'm really, really big on that. And so when I'm not Bridget is, has a phobia of speaking in front of people. But when you turn into someone else, you turn into that character, and that kind of goes away for me. So it's funny. A lot of people might not relate to that, but
I know exactly what you're talking about.
What about you, Mike? You've done I know you're more behind the camera instead of in front of the camera, but
Yes.
how are you with public speaking? You seem to be pretty good to me, but I don't know.
I hate it.
You hate it?
I do hate it. Yes. And even though with my background, I had a great fear of it, in school and high school and stuff. So I basically try to test myself by I used to be a singer in a band, and then I was a manager in retail. So I tried to do some things that kind of push those limits and stuff, but I still don't like it. Give me the option, I'll opt out every time. I don't like it. No, but with acting and movies and stuff, it's a little different, like in music and stuff, because you're not actually in front of a crowd. The only crowd you have is your crew and your cast mates. So you're not really in front of. It's different than being in a play or something, because you're not actually in front of an audience. So that I can handle. I can handle being on a set and stuff like that. But yeah, public speaking, not really a fan.
Hey, but I did see. So I have seen a cameo. You have some cameos in some of your movies.
I do.
Small parts.
Usually when people don't show up. But go ahead.
Okay. You're being. I got you. Okay. All right, I get that. Totally understand.
Yeah.
Totally understand.
So, do you mind if I ask you guys some questions I've been wanting to ask?
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, because I got to say, so I think you guys had 2 episodes, and maybe the third one came out while I was listening in the period when I was listening to the first 2. And the whole time that I've been listening to this podcast, I have wanted to just jump in and start talking to you and jumping in with the points like, oh yeah, this, that. And I had all these thoughts swirling around in my head, and every one of them almost is gone except for a few key points that you've brought up in the past that I think the relevance of the video age from the 80s has shaped not only people that live through that, but even my kids today are turning me on to things that came out when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that resurgence of the explosion of VHS availability, what we thought was availability. Like now, man, dude, I feel like I'm drowning in content. I keep trying to watch things, but you find the time to keep up with all that there is out there.
No, you can't.
You can't. And I would love for you to ask me what my scariest movies from the 80s are.
All right, then. What are they?
Joel, what is your scariest movies of the 80s? I'm excited to hear about it.
Well, I'm so glad you asked, Bridget.
Great.
I'll be honest with you. There's only been one movie in my entire life that I've ever seen that scared me.
Okay.
That scared me when I was awake.
I'm dying to know.
And it gave me nightmares for years. And I think that probably even to this day, some of I don't really have nightmares anymore. Like even what you would call nightmares as an adult are not really scary. You wake up and it's like, oh, cool. That's kind of a cool horror movie I watched in my sleep. It's not even a horror movie. The Day After. Do you remember that?
No, I'm sitting here going, we're
The
both
Day
like
After.
this long signs. I'm like, wait,
It's about Kansas City getting hit with a nuclear strike in World War III. And it's a realistic depiction. It was, I want to say it was like it might have been a 2-part miniseries, or it might have been a 1-night long made for TV movie event, but it was great. Had, had Steve Guttenberg, pretty sure it had Jason Robards, John Lithgow, had a lot of other famous people in it, but it was a very realistic depiction of the aftermath of a nuclear strike. Was what scared me, was the people not having food and dying from exposure to fallout.
It's funny that
friggin' scarred me.
Typically, a lot of movies, like the one movie, like there's only a couple of them out there that have really affected me. Like, holy shit, it scared the shit out of me. But it's usually something that's a real life situation. Mm-hmm. Like that was for real. I mean, that could really happen. And the movie that scared me was, based off of a stalker. I mean, I can get into that way later, but it's usually in the movies, it's real shit that can really happen. That's the really scary stuff for me anyways.
Yeah, that is what's really scary. I guess the rest of it is just what we watch it gets harder and harder as an
Sorry.
adult to find something that gives you that recreational scare. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we were just jaded by two real terrors in the world. My second daughter once went missing after school, had an Amber Alert and everything for her. Police out combing the neighborhood for her, and that's terror. That's absolute horror right there.
I can imagine. That's definitely scarier than any
Yeah, I
movie.
was like, that might be my biggest nightmare, is because I have a daughter too.
Oh yeah, she's awesome, by the way.
My daughter. Oh
Yes.
yeah, you worked with her. Oh my god,
Yes,
I forgot
yes.
that. I
When she was in-
completely forgot.
And that. Oh man, that was that crazy night with the storm rolling through Scottsville.
Mm-hmm.
And there was
George talked about this on the podcast. It was there's a Garth Brooks concert, and that's been this week in Nashville. But back when we were filming, it was so bad. The storms were so bad. They canceled the Garth Brooks concert, and we were literally sitting there filming, and we could see the storms
on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Like half a block away was just a downpour, and we were bone dry. And that was that was that night. There was all kinds of crazy stuff going, and George is panicking because I was busting ass to get there, and it was I was running late and everything. I was running super late. We're trying to beat the weather, and we get out there, and we got down into that scene, and I was struggling so much with those lines. I don't know why, and it was just I feel like I blew that scene, and
I feel like I
hope
because I had like 5 tiny lines. 5. It was terrible.
It was by no means the most difficult scene in that movie, but it was just like everything was horrendous that night, and
well, my 14-year-old was underneath the car, so that was on panic mode. So
that was an intense scene.
Rewind a little bit. Fill Mike in on this because he's we don't even have a trailer for this movie yet. So, but George said it was okay that if we talk about it. So rewind a little bit and fill Mike in and what's kind of happening with the scene and everything, and how what part we play together in the movie.
So we're as our group is rounding, running this gauntlet, trying to make it to the airfield. There's we come across the mom and the daughter. And,
so the movie's about
and your daughter is the daughter.
My daughter's the daughter, but
your daughter's the daughter, but you're not the mom.
I'm not the mom in the movie, but the movie's about apocalypse. It's apocalypse, and in all your apocalypse movies, you have your little group of people that all meet up, and we're all trying to survive. But Joel and I were in a little group of people together.
Dude, we whoop some ass, don't we?
Yeah,
we do.
We did.
Like good. We do good melee combat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it.
I loved it. I loved working with you, Bridget. It was so much fun, man.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm like I'm trying to, it's work after you work so many damn hours, you get delirious, and I get silly and stupid. So,
oh God, yeah. Like that night we didn't get. I know I got home at like 5:30 or 6, and I was probably a good half hour closer to my house than you were to yours.
Yeah. That's so. Mike and I first started talking on social media because, he's a movie director. We're actors. We were all filming in the same city in Scottsville, Kentucky.
Scottsville's awesome.
Yeah, I got a friend who lives over there, and I actually shot a scene maybe a month or so, maybe a few months maybe even, but not that long before I saw that post that Bridget did, and I was like, what? Somebody else was in Scottsville? That's crazy.
Right. I know when you said that, I was like, oh my God, do you know where that is? Because no one knows where it's at.
Yeah, that's funny.
It was out there, but what sucks, here's what really sucks is that when you are out there and that is in the middle of nowhere and it gets midnight and you're on set for hours and hours and hours and hours. I remember one point I was like, dude, I gotta go pee. What do I do? Oh shit. I done found myself like squatting behind bushes peeing because
No, I remember. I remember where you used to go pee a lot.
that is don't tell anybody that is terrible.
Well, I'm just gonna say it was on the railroad tracks. I mean, there's a lot of railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna go out hunting for the spot where Bridget peed.
I forgot about that. That was in Hendersonville in the park.
You remember when you thought we were throwing rocks at you? Or you thought I was throwing rocks at you?
I was so fucking pissy. I'm telling you, the railroad tracks are haunted. They are haunted.
I think it was just either some homeless people that were pissed that you were peeing in their cooking spot.
Could be.
Shit, I don't know. I
don't know.
I done strolled up there in front of George and everybody. I was like, "Fucking Joel, I know you were throwing rocks on us out there."
So like where this one location is, like it's in town, but
it's in Hendersonville.
When you get in there, it's in it's in the middle of nowhere, and somehow it's in the middle of town. You know, one of those places.
Yes.
And
it's one of those places that we all go out to eat, but I was the only smart one that put bug spray on, and everybody else is picking ticks off in the bathroom at the restaurant.
Oh man, everybody get ate up with chiggers bad too.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was a smart one of the bunch.
Yeah, but remember when we were out in Portland on that farm, Kayla was the one laying down in the ground in the poison ivy.
Yeah. It's crazy things. I bet Mike could tell us some crazy things he's seen on set too. Because I mean, you work so long, and you become friends. You know, everybody's like a family, and
oh yeah. There's definitely been many places where there's no bathrooms, and you just have to wing it. You know, the girls and the guys. You know, you just have to do it. And I mean, one of my favorite places to film was abandoned houses. No plumbing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I got something. So tell me your impressions about this area for the horror film industry. It just seems like it really seems perfect. In my day-to-day job, I'm always driving down the most obscure back roads throughout all kinds of places in Kentucky and Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I am constantly seeing just the most amazing sites that I just scream location for anything. And they're everywhere in this part of the country, it seems like.
As long as you can get the owners to allow you to do that. Yeah, absolutely. There's tons of, so much.
Do you think that, do you feel like this area is more rich than other places in the country?
I guess it depends.
Some adventure that revolves around this.
I guess it depends place. What story you're trying to come up with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it depends on what you want to tell. I mean, I like those kind of stories, and I like putting that in the setting, but I don't want all my movies to be that way. Does that make sense? Like so.
Oh yeah. No, well, it's got to be a good blend of plot, characters, and setting.
Yeah, I mean here you have.
But sometimes the setting screams like this is a setting that screams for a story.
Yeah. Well, here we have the nature, and the nature itself just lends itself in that backdrop of horror. But in a city, you have the man-made constructs that can look pretty cool too. So it really is a give and take, and like Bridget said, it depends on the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just feel sometimes like the story is. Sometimes the story can come out of what's already happened there. You know what I mean? Of course, that's the definition of a story, right? You know what I mean? But you don't know anything about it, but you can look at a place and just know that something bad happened there, or that that's where somebody found true love, or that that's where the end of the world was averted.
Right. Well, yeah, that's why my first film was Brimstone. It was set in Brimstone, that area, the very wooded, haunted, looking place, and that's why I wanted to do it there. So yeah, definitely you can come up with ideas just from your location for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Joel, your scariest movie is The Day After. What's like so that's the scariest horror movie. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, a favorite horror movie. That's going to be hard to nail down, but I'm probably going to have to nail down to the closest a horror movie ever came to scaring me,
Okay.
which it didn't really scare me. So, when I was little, my parents had this contract cleaning company, and one of their things, I don't know if you guys remember Super X drugs.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so he would had a propane buffer, and he'd go around mop sweep and buff these stores periodically. Super X drugs carried Fangoria magazine in their magazine shelf. So when I was like in kindergarten, actually, I guess so I learned to read really early, probably around 3 or 4 years old. So before I was in school, I was able to read, but having to ride around with my dad and stuff all around the state of Kentucky to different Super X drugs while he's doing this. And I would go and sit down at the magazine stand. And that's where I also discovered National Lampoons, which is funny. My parents would let me read Fangoria, but on National Lampoon. So, but I remember seeing, God, I must have been, I was probably 5 or 6 by this age, when Evil Dead came out, maybe. And I was reading Fangoria magazine, and I was reading about all these movies that my parents wouldn't let me watch, but there was the picture of Ash's girlfriend, I don't know if it was Ash's girlfriend, whichever one was locked in the cellar with her funky eyes, and she's sticking her hands out and stuff like that, the chained up cellar door.
Yeah.
And that image stuck in my mind. Just that it was just a little picture in the magazine. It stuck in my mind because the house we lived in was this old 2-story, 4-square Victorian that was, pushing 100 years old when I was a kid in the 70s. This thing was scary as hell. And they were redoing the main staircase that went from the upstairs to the downstairs across the back of the house, and there was no electricity in it yet. There were no lights. And this bottom well at the bottom landing was always pitch black when the sun went down. And I was convinced, and I didn't know anybody's name. It was just The Evil Dead I knew what the movie was called. And I said, The Evil Dead is down there at the bottom. Waiting to pop up there. And after sundown, dude, I would not go down those friggin' steps. I was scared to death.
Dude, this is the best story ever. Where is this house located?
Like, you want to see? Okay.
No, where
I'll
is
go
it?
ahead and tell you. Yeah,
Nashville?
my
Where's
family got
that?
no context. I'll tell you, it's at 502 West 3rd Street, Lexington, Kentucky, 40508. There you go.
Also,
Okay.
And I was so scared of that staircase. And the thing is the thought of the movie and being scared of the movie, I didn't even think about the movie or what it was for years and years until I already had a driver's license because I was tearing up those back roads of Kentucky with my cousin in a 72 Challenger with a 446 pack. Oh God, what a bad MFer that car was. Man, I was 16, 17 years old. So this is in the early 90s before I actually watched the movie Evil Dead. My cousin was like, "Have you seen this?" I was like, "No," but when he said The Evil Dead, I was like, "I gotta see it now."
You're talking about stairs. I'm like, stairs are not scary, okay? But I have a similar story for you. I was in my aunt's wedding. I was one of the flower girls. I was 6 years old. This is in the Two Rivers Mansion. You heard of Two Rivers Mansion? Anybody?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I mean, I don't know the name, but I'm not familiar with where it's at or what it is. But yeah.
So my aunt got married there. I was 6. I was a flower girl, and I was 6 years old. I remember getting my hair done upstairs in these huge, like, old rooms, and something about the stairs. I remember walking the little stairs that curved around. I remember walking. I felt like in my mind I had to walk really close to the wall because I was gonna fall down these damn stairs. And it's really weird. Like I couldn't explain that to anyone else. I'm like, was I dreaming that? No, I remember it. I remember going up and down these stairs so many times. And so if you look up the Two Rivers Mansion in Nashville, it's supposedly haunted. I fucking believe it. I feel like something shit went down them stairs. I swear to you. Who is
Yeah, I
scared
know.
of stairs? Who's scared of stairs? Nobody. But no, that feeling you get, it's pretty creepy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's got to be either something in the basic human psyche
Yeah.
about something, or that shit's just real. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in a very intellectual religion type thing growing up. It was, part of, one of the periods of the Great Awakening in American history, which is like, there were various periods, but they were mostly defined by a more intellectual and personal approach to religion, as opposed to just, following doctrine and, procedure and tradition type stuff. But I was taught that basically the only supernatural entities that exist are, God and the devil and angels and demons. There aren't any such thing as ghosts, anything like that, But I'm telling you, man, I saw shit that was, I'm sorry about that. I know you always say it's okay to cuss, you do, but I was going to make it a point to just keep it to a minimum.
You get my permission, Joel. It's fine.
Okay, then I'm going to go George Carlin on you.
All right, sweet.
Do it. I was like, do it.
But I saw things that, that to me, there was like, from what I was taught to expect of what you would consider supernatural in a religious background, that just didn't fit the mold. Remember seeing in this old house we lived in, this chair outside the landing, or that sat on the landing outside my bedroom. So it was like all the bedrooms were in a perimeter around the second floor, kind of like lobby area. And I saw this woman sitting there, and I thought it was my mom, because she was wearing a long nightgown, and this was the 70s, and everybody wore long nightgowns in the 70s, except those porn stars, with all that hair. And okay, I'm glad I got a chuckle.
All that hair, like fur bikinis? Is that what you're referring to?
Exactly. Like, okay. Oh, the poor animals they slaughtered.
Oh no.
And I remember sitting there watching this woman, and as I'm looking at her, I realized, oh, hold on, my mom doesn't have a nightgown exactly like that. My mom had red hair, and this lady's hair is obviously dark brown, and my mom's hair was kind of frizzy, she is ginger. And I'm looking, I'm like, as I'm starting to realize that this is not my mom, there's this freaking stranger in my house, and she's just sitting there. And I start to get scared just because there's a stranger in the house. And it's not even entering into my mind that I'm seeing something until much later in life. And I remember very vividly this memory. And I'm like, yeah, there was not some woman in her late 20s, early 30s with dark brown hair that came and broke into our house just to come up and sit on that second floor landing chair. And I watched that woman for a long time because I start to be scared to go to sleep, and that's what, to this day, I still wonder. It doesn't fit with what my ideas of supernatural beings are. I don't believe in ghosts.
Is this because
I guess I was trained to not.
Is this the same house, 502 West 3rd Street?
Yeah, Lexington, Kentucky, 40508.
Look, don't think I didn't write it down. I'm like, dude, I love going to haunted places. I'm like, look, I'm gonna go and stalk that house now.
Bridget will be there
investigate.
tomorrow.
That's right. I'm gonna go investigate Well, Joe, we probably have to wrap it up because we have so much more stuff to talk about on our podcast. But God, thank you so much. I'm so
Man,
excited to have you. We had
man,
so
it
much
was.
fun filming together.
We
And
did. And real quick, can I ask just a couple more questions of you
God,
guys?
yeah, God, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so like I've been rolling through Tubi, and like, yeah, Mike, I remember it pointing out like just how difficult it is to navigate and sort
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Man, I've probably picked out like 15 to 20 movies and either changed it or fallen asleep or just decided to take the dogs outside and play my Star Wars game.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really finding it hard to get something that is really, really engaging right off the bat. I did watch Martyrs.
Yes.
I
Okay.
heard you
My
guys talking
favorite.
about Martyrs. Watched it.
That's one of my favorites. I don't know if it's one of Mike's favorites. I
It,
think
it-
he
yeah,
liked it, but I don't know
yeah.
if it's
No,
one of
it
your
is.
favorites.
It's definitely one of my. I mean, it's one of my hardcore favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Did I
for
watch
sure.
a different version on Tubi? Did I watch an edited
Possibly.
version?
Did you
Oh
watch
my
Did you
God.
watch the
He didn't
American
watch
version?
he watched the original. That's what it is.
I mean,
already
it was
know.
subtitles.
You watched
I
the
mean, it
remake.
was all in French, right?
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it was all in French with subtitles. You know, there was no overdubbing or anything like that. But the thing that everything I saw or when I looked about it, because I was curious after, I was thinking that maybe I saw an edited version because I really wasn't that shocked. Everybody talking about her being flayed, and I feel like that was shown in. I feel like I saw all that they had to show on that, but it didn't look.
Oh, it's supposed to be. It's one of the top, extreme horror movies or whatever. I mean, to me, it wasn't that extreme. To me, it wasn't, but
Well,
maybe I have a higher tolerance. I'm not
right.
sure.
Well,
Right.
I'm just well. What I drew out of it was a sadness.
Mhm.
I definitely got an emotional reaction to watching the movie, but it was more like sadness than like.
Oh no, I agree 100%.
I think
There's
maybe
sadness in
when
there.
I watch horror, I expect to like revulsion. Maybe I want to be revolted, and maybe that's hard to do. The only movies that are really difficult for me to watch, like that make me so uncomfortable I can't watch them, are movies where you see the characters self-destruct, like Sid and Nancy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you know how the story ends, and you're just
Oh,
watching it happen in all its
that's a
slow, gory, graphic detail of the. It's like there's no. It's just got a bad ending,
but that was.
and
Well,
it's
I mean, that
true.
was that, but that was a realistic story though too.
Yeah, Joe. I
But
don't know what to say about
Well,
that.
that was a true story, but there are other things that are, fictional. But when the characters are, I have a hard time watching self-destructive behavior.
Mhm.
As far
When you
as
watch people ruining their own selves.
as far as
I like
Martyrs
it.
goes, Joe, I don't know what to say about it other than perhaps you have watched so much stuff that you're desensitized. It could have been edited itself. I really don't know on Tubi. I'm not for sure. But also, I think you you heard a lot about it going in, so you you had your guard up against it. Like for me personally, I don't know about Bridget, but when I watched it, I watched it when it came out 2007, and I had no idea what I was getting into. I'd never heard anything about it. So I think that that might have something to do with it. But I mean, it's everybody's got different, like you said, different things. If you like crazy gross out stuff, then you might want to try slaughtered vomit dolls or something, which is
Yeah.
it's insane. But
Well, I mean, I think I guess it comes down to, as far as, how many discussions have there been about what do you define as horror? And I guess that now this movie, Martyrs did provoke an emotional reaction in me, but I felt sadness and despair over, I think, the helplessness of the characters. You know what I mean? I think that it was.
But in reality, that's kind of scary.
That's the
isn't
horror
it?
of it. Yeah. I mean, that
that's
is the
scary as
horror.
hell.
And that's the realism. I mean, look at the abuse that people put on other people, and
that's what's scary about it. And everyone's view on horror movies is different. Everyone has something that ticks them, but that movie took it to like a whole different level. And for me, it did. It's probably my top today. It's still my top favorite horror movie today.
All right, Joel, you got anything else?
It was. I tell you. Let's see. Yeah, what was the other question about that? Okay, we had talked about the '80s stuff. I talked about the edited movies, and yes. Okay, so this is what I think that's the dragon I'm chasing. Is I want a good kind of creep out, give you the Shudders movie, but my problem is in my household, that's kind of something I have to watch all alone. And that's when the mood is best, when everything's dark and, sometimes when the mood's the best. So what's a good, good creepy Shudder movie that's out right now you'd recommend to me?
To watch by yourself.
To watch by myself. Yeah, just something like, I wish I could tell you when they gave it to me. Do you remember Videodrome?
Yeah. God, fuck yes, of course.
That movie is just like, is incomprehensible as it is. To me, it always seems like I have so many memories of it being on USA up all night when I wake up.
Hey, Joel, have you ever seen The Dark and the Wicked?
The Dark and the Wicked? No, I haven't.
That's on Shudder. That's my recommendation. That one.
The Dark and the Wicked.
Yep. It's about the guy who directed The Strangers.
Okay, I've heard of that, but I've not watched it. Do you recommend it also?
Highly. Oh, The Strangers?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Both of those. But if you want creepy, Dark and the Wicked.
Dark and the Wicked.
I don't think Bridget's a big fan, but I love The Strangers. I think it's a fantastic movie.
I watched the first 2 seasons and I loved them, but
What? The Strangers?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Stranger Things?
Yeah. No, no, I'm talking about Stranger Things. Oh wait. Oh God,
I like Strange.
Oh fuck, you're talking about God, those movies. I hate them.
Yeah, she's not a fan, but I love the first one. But Dark and the Wicked is totally different vibe than Strangers. But I would recommend both those actually.
All right, yeah. Hey, I want to give a shout out to George because when I was listening to his interview, I've talked to him 1,000 times, in person. But when I was listening to his interview, it was really inspirational to me. And he said, "Just do it. I'm writing a screenplay."
Sweet,
and
very nice.
I just, I really hope it doesn't turn into one of those multiple projects in my life that I've done partway and then just gone on to something else. But I want to do it just to be able to say that I did it.
Dude, that is so awesome, Joel. No, that is that is great. And I'm gonna back George up on that one. Dude, just do it. Do it. Just if that's what makes you happy. I know we have our big jobs that we have to go to, but man, at the end of the day, do what makes you happy. I think you should.
I do want a commitment from you though, Bridget, because if it ever did happen to see the light of day, anything would ever happen with it, I got you pegged for the lead.
Oh man, I appreciate that, and I appreciate that you believe in me that much. Thank you.
Well, it does because the main characters in this is you fit perfectly. Especially remember we had the conversation a while back about kung fu movies. When I said I did kung fu movies on Saturday, you thought I meant like I made kung fu movies, but I was saying I watched kung fu movies.
I was like, dude, you're like into kung fu, like you make kung fu movies.
You're just like, I want to see your kung fu movies. Like if my kung fu movies involve the remote.
Dude, that'd be like 6 hours into filming all damn night, and we're stressed out and tired. That's funny.
It's what I picture, man. And if I could recommend one scene for you to watch, just to get an idea of what I imagine is, if you've ever seen Romper Stomper with Russell Crowe.
No, but I'll put it on my list though.
Dude, it's a pointless movie. about some skinheads in Australia that just do a bunch of crimes and shit. But there's a scene where they get in this, they start a big fight where they've got this pool hall they hang out with, and a couple of Vietnamese immigrants come in there and they feel like they're invading their turf. They get all racist, take them out and start gang beating them and shit like that. And one of them runs off back to get all the other Vietnamese people, and they show up in multiple vehicles, and it just turns into this massive, brutal brawl. So I know you can find it on YouTube. If you say Romper Stomper fight scene, that's the one that's going to come up. Recommend you watch it, because that's what I get in mind. Just a bunch of brutality, people beating the shit out of each other.
Dude,
All
I'm
right.
so looking it up. But
All right, cool.
well, yeah, we've got we have a lot more to talk about. So, damn, Joel, I really appreciate
I'm sorry for
you coming
taking up
on
so much of
here.
your time. I appreciate your consideration. God, I love you guys. Mike, it's so great to finally meet you. I've loved listening to this podcast. It is it's so much fun.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, glad to have you on, man. Come back again sometime. We'll talk some more.
Oh, man, I'd love to. I'm always available because I don't have any life outside of you guys.
All right. All right, great.
Hey, Joel.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, well, that was a great interview.
No, it was totally fun. Joel's a really cool person and an inspiring actor. He's been really cool. We've worked together on several projects, and I was excited to have him on our show tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. All right, you got anything else before we kind of kick off these musical notes before we leave?
No, let's do the music. Let's do it.
All right.
I'm excited about it.
This is Macabre Melodies, and we'll see what's playing, shall we?
Okay,
I'm gonna start off with a typical one. This is a no-brainer, I think. Let's see what this one is about. You familiar with that one?
I'm not familiar, but I love it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the horror punk rock antics of the Misfits.
No shit.
Really? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is so awesome.
That was back in the Glenn Danzig days. Now, Michael Graves and stuff. I like a lot of their stuff. They do a lot of horror, old B-movie horror titles and stuff, and just a lot of good stuff. But that one was Halloween.
That was a good one. I could picture myself like dancing to that. I love it. You said Misfits. I was like, yep, that's it. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What else you got for me?
All right, I got this one right here.
Okay.
All right,
dude. I was like, at first, I was like, it sounds like a porno. But wait. Oh, wait. No, it doesn't sound like a porno. It sounds like a 90s movie. I'm not familiar with this one.
Okay.
I'm not on this one. What is it?
All right. The artist, her name is Poe.
Okay.
Just Poe, like Edgar Allan Poe. But,
right.
just Poe. And the song is called "Haunted." And this is actually on the soundtrack. Yeah, it's on the soundtrack and on the movie to Blair Witch 2, which you haven't seen. But
Oh, I haven't seen, so I didn't know the movie. But I was like, at first, I was like, "Oh my god, this
Yeah.
this is like a hardcore horror. Is this hardcore porn?" 'Cause damn, I was feeling kind of sexy there for a minute, but I was like, "Oh wait, no, we're getting into like it's getting creepy. It's getting creepy." Okay, sorry.
But you were right about the '90s, Phil. She only did like a couple albums. I think of course this one was like early 2000, but the first one was in the '90s. So,
okay,
yeah.
I was picking up the '90s vibe, and I love it though.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So
what else you got?
I got one more thing. This is
Perfect
score, a theme to a movie.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Here we go. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. What do you think?
I don't recognize it.
Yeah.
I don't.
No feelings?
But it sounds like to me, my first thought was the teen made me sound like it was, I don't know, something with children, scary children and their little toys.
Okay.
What's it from?
All right. That is the band that created that is called Goblin. And that is the theme or the opening to Suspiria.
You are fucking shitting me right now. The original Suspiria.
The original Dario Argento Suspiria, yes.
Suspiria is a fucking good movie. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loved it. Now, the remake...
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it either. It was a little extra. I mean, at the end, you're like, "Oh God, it's a little fucking extra." But it got pretty wild there. Yeah,
I didn't hate it either, though.
I expected to hate it, and I didn't. So I thought it was okay.
I know.
I mean, I prefer the original, but yeah.
I think agreed. I think we're on the same page on this one.
Yeah.
The original Suspiria I love because of the colors and
the giallo.
God, it was so fucking good. Mm-hmm. So good. I tried to get Tracy to watch that movie with me, and he was like, "This is the fucking boringest thing I've ever watched in my entire life." And I was like, "Oh well, fuck me. You gotta appreciate it for what it is. The colors and God, just the film. Mm-hmm. It's a whole different thing." But no, I fucking loved it. Yeah. I love this. Thank you for playing that one.
Yeah, and the Goblin, they did the whole soundtrack, and it's great. Like the music is great in that movie.
God, it was good. Yes, I wrote that down in my book.
All right, that's all I got for you.
Man, that's all I got for you. God, awesome. So exciting. We've had a good couple weeks, and I can't wait to hear what we talk about the next couple weeks. We got some good movies to watch.
Sure.
Some crazy shit.
All right. Till next time, stay hardcore.
Hey, I'm staying hardcore.
All right.
Okay. I'll talk to you next time.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Nothing harder.